So it's week 4 of August, and I wanted to do an update just before I kind of finish getting ready. I've had a pretty chill morning, and I'm actually going for like a birthday dinner with my mom and my boyfriend in about an hour. So I still need to do my hair, but I've been just doing some editing because last week I didn't post my week reading vlog 2, my second week reading, oh my god, my second week of August reading vlog, and I really wanted to get that up. I am almost finished editing, but I really kind of wanted to do my hair just because I feel like it looks like me. I've been listening to The House in the Cerulean Sea by TJ Klune, and I'm really enjoying it. I have about 6 hours left in the audiobook, so I think I'm about halfway through. I'm on chapter 11, and I'm really enjoying it. So it is like a just magical orphanage kind of story, but like a social worker. It has more to do with the social workers, in all honesty. It's a world where like magical beings are exposed to the world, and the regular beings are very scared of them, so a lot of regulations were built to kind of integrate them into society, although I don't believe they're doing a very good job of it. And the children that are magical specifically, if they're not living with their family, they live in an orphanage specific for them, and then there's like these social workers that go and check to make sure that this is all safe and that they're going by the guidelines. And in this one specifically, Linus has always like been super by the book, and he's been actually working as like a social worker for a really long time compared to all the other people that do it, and he gets put on a special mission to check up on this house that no one's really ever checked up on before, and it's a house that's housing very dangerous magical beings, like ones that could completely alter the way that the world is. For example, one of them is the son of Lucifer. He's 6 years old. He goes by Lucy. He's talked about as the Antichrist, and I don't love that for this, because they specifically even say in the house that like they don't go by Antichrist for him, but that's how it's said in the summary. So, and when Linus gets there, he is ready to just, you know, stick to the rules as he always does, but maybe the children aren't as bad as they seem on paper, and maybe this system is more corrupt than he originally had assumed. I am enjoying it for that reason, and I'm excited to see where it goes. Besides that, this week I do want to finish Come Tumbling Down, and I think that if I can, I'll rent out the ones we're meant to find, because at this point I don't think it's going to pop up in my Libby library during this month, and I really do want to finish my TBR for the month, and I think that would be the last book on my TBR that I hadn't read if I finish those two. So that's kind of my soft plan. I do have some other books that are checked out in my library's audiobook app, so like The Removed, which I started last week, but I've been feeling kind of weird about, so I don't know if I'd finish it this week. I also have Razorblade Tears. I kind of want to read Plain Bad Heroines and maybe start, I don't know if I want to start Iron Gold yet. Ooh, another book became available. I'm gonna do my hair. Maybe I'll give you one more update before we head out to dinner. I probably won't film at dinner. Talk to you then. Okay, I'm about to head out, but we gotta go, and I've listened to more of House in the Cerulean Sea, by the way, and I'm still loving it. Not surprising. Here, maybe like this. I love this for me. So update, I finished House in the Cerulean Sea last night and I gave it 5 stars. In all honesty, it's probably more of a 4.5, but I feel really attached to Lucy and Theodore, so it's a 5. Ratings are subjective. They don't have to make sense. It's fine, it's fine, it's fine. I really liked it though. It was great to be in Linus's point of view because he definitely goes from being like a strictly by the rules, by the book caseworker to having his eyes opened by these very different kids. I knew from the start that I was going to love Lucifer. I knew it at Lucy. It's just, you can't put Antichrist in the title and then start it by saying that he doesn't want to be called the Antichrist and that it's not fair without me getting really attached. And also I think that was kind of annoying because I feel like the only way that people refer to this is as the Antichrist, and I don't like it because in the book he doesn't like being called the Antichrist. I just feel like it's mean. Is that? I'm just probably going way too far into it. I loved Theodore. He's a little... I don't want to ruin anything because that's really, you don't know about any of the other characters until he gets there, but he's just the sweetest bean and I want him. He deserves the best. It was definitely a predictable story. It was just a happy book. So after that, I needed to wait until tomorrow for my credit to renew on Scribd to start listening to The Ones We're Meant to Find. And in the meantime, I actually started Razorblade Tears by S.A. Cosby, and I'm maybe like 40% of the way through, and I'm enjoying it. It's different. It's 2 dads who are looking for the murderers of their sons. When I originally read this, I read them as like 2 gay dads trying to find the murderer of their son, but no, it is the 2 dads of the 2 sons that were murdered that were together. They were murdered in cold blood, there's no investigation happening, and the dads kind of get it in their head that they're gonna get their own justice, and they team up even though they kind of low-key hate each other. And they were also feeling very bad because they were both pretty mean to their sons because neither of them understood their son's life choices, is how they phrase it. And it's different. I don't love, I guess, being inside of the heads of the dads that are so stuck in their ways, I guess. So the white dad, he's kind of a deadbeat, I'm not gonna lie. He's not doing a lot with his life, and he knows that he's not doing a lot with his life. And the other dad, he's made a career for himself. He's an ex-criminal. He had gone to jail, but when he got out of jail, he decided to completely clean up his act. He has his own business now, and the white dad goes to the black dad and is like, let's team together, and the black dad's like, I'm not gonna deal with any of your racism, so the second you start doing that, I'm gonna punch you. And I liked that, but now we're getting to a point in the story where we're starting to see a lot more of like the dad's like point of view on sexuality, and there's a really interesting and kind of frustrating part that just passed where they're in a bar and it's a gay bar. Ike is the ex-criminal that made a career for himself. Billy's the white kind of deadbeat dad. Ike in this scene is just kind of like, I don't know, he's trying to make it a competition almost because the bartender's kind of saying like it's not easy to be gay or black in the South, and Ike is kind of just going off on him and he's like, oh, but it's much easier to be gay, and it's like, why does it have to be a competition in this scenario, you know? I like what the bartender even says because there's a point where he's getting really frustrated and he's basically saying, well, yeah, but if you go into a room where no one knows who you are, then you're gonna be fine, but if I go into a room, I can't just remove my blackness. Which is true, but the bartender looks at him and he goes, the problem with that is that you're saying that I shouldn't act like myself. Like he's trying to remove the identity from the person. And I thought that was a really nice way of saying it, but I just feel like it was just kind of frustrating to see, and I'm hoping that his eyes open more as the story goes, but who knows. I did just upload a video. I feel like I was going to try and edit some more tonight, but I just kind of want to relax and chill out. Adam's coming over later and I kind of want to try and find something to make, or maybe convince him to go grocery shopping with me. I'm not sure. That's all I have to say right now. Let me tell ya, I just finished Razorblade Tears. I liked this a lot. I really liked it. It was so much fun because it was like an action story. There was so much guns and violence and like gang style activity, just like a action movie about 2 dads getting revenge. But it was also woke without being woke. Like the 2 dads are like pillars of what I guess like middle-aged men tend to be in society, just like very stuck in their ways, very stubborn, very not open-minded, or at least how they're portrayed, or I don't know, I feel like a lot of middle-aged men can fall into that category. And it's them and their point of views and how they talk, and it's them kind of like slowly realizing, not even that they're wrong, but like being more open to learning. Like the way that they say the things isn't always great, but then like every once in a while they'll have like a moment and it puts everything into perspective. I guess that's the way that I would say it. I feel like any dad could read this and start with one opinion and by the end be like, maybe. And it's because it's like, you know, it's their voice saying it back to them. I feel like it's hard to hear things sometimes when it's a different age, or someone that's more entitled, or someone that has a lot more knowledge. Like, you don't want to learn something because you feel like you're being talked down to, and I think that this says it in such a way that's like on the same playing field, we're even, and then it makes it more palatable. I feel like it's hard to describe everything that we know as a newer generation to try and teach older generations, because we sound very entitled while we say it to them. Maybe not like in reality, but like to an older generation we sound very entitled. Just like, I like to think of it in the way that like there's probably so much that I'm not going to know when I'm 50 about like new things, new terms, new anything. There's so much that I still don't know, you know? And I just try to keep that in perspective whenever I'm talking about, I guess, anything that's a heavy topic or like a hot topic, or just something that's so touchy, like in this. That's another topic, I guess, but I did really love this. I'm gonna give it 5 stars. This was just very well done, and I think that it had a lot to teach while also still kind of just staying in that realm of action story, revenge story. This is what I feel like action movies should become, because, you know, action movies are still fun. I love watching action movies all the time, but you're not really learning anything from it, and I think this one was teaching without preaching. Ooh. Bars. So anyways, I actually am going to film now. I don't know if I'm going to pick up another book for today because my dad's coming over in a little, but the next book that I will read is probably The Ones We're Meant to Find, because today my Scribd subscription renewed. I'm not sure if I'm going to be resubscribing for next month. I keep meaning to cancel it because I feel like I don't use it enough, and when I do use it, I just get annoyed with it. Let me know what you guys subscribe to, if you do have like audiobook subscriptions besides using your library, because I tend to use my library. If you subscribe to anything, let me know down below what it is. My camera's gonna die, but I want to do like a little journaling clip. I just realized that the last 4 books I read were 5 stars. They were all really good though. Look at how different they're. Well, they're not that different actually. Okay, so Black Flamingo, Over the Woodward Wall, House in the Cerulean Sea, Black Flamingo, top tier, and then Razorblade Tears. I think I've read a lot of good books this month. I've read a lot of books this month. See, believe in your dreams, kids. Sometimes you'll be in a reading slump for 2 years, and other times you'll read a lot. A lot. I've decided I like my hair curled, and last night I did like a heatless curl thing. I don't know, like a bathrobe string tie, and the curls turned out really good. So I don't know. Today's been a weird day. I've been editing, well, I've been re-editing because this footage was already edited. This is supposed to be my vlog from last week, so week 3, and it was supposed to go up today, but I've been having issues with like exporting the file, and I think it's because it was split between 2 libraries. I don't even know. I have basically my hard drive, which I normally do things on, and then my computer, and something along the way that I edited it is corrupting it. So I've been re-editing today so that I can actually export it, because I spent like a whole day basically trying to just figure out if I could get around re-editing, but we're here. I ended up finishing a book last night before going to bed, and it's The Removed by Brandon Hobson. I didn't expect to pick this up this week, but I wanted something to listen to while I showered last night and kind of unwound. This was already started, so I figured why not, and I gave it 3.5 stars. I think that my initial instinct was to rate this lower. I just really didn't love the characters in it. They were all so flawed, and they were just going through so many things that I didn't entirely understand, and there wasn't any clarity on it. There were no clear answers by the end. About halfway through, I kind of had a moment that made me realize that I was just reading it in the wrong light. Like, I was reading it still psychoanalyzing these characters, trying to figure out what was potentially like psychologically going on with them. Basically, it's a family that was torn apart by the eldest son being shot 15 years before the story takes place and killed by police. And this story again takes place 15 years later, and it's kind of showing how this ruined their lives. We have Maria, who's the mother, and she, in my opinion, has a little bit of a savior complex, but that's another story. And she's just very still like distraught and saddened that her like kids aren't around, and that her other son is a drug addict, and just always worried. She gets a lot of anxiety attacks now. Then there's Ernest, who's the husband, and he has Alzheimer's, so she's always taking care of him, and his Alzheimer's is getting really bad. But in this story, we actually see it fade with the introduction of a foster kid that they take in. It's the only foster kid they've ever taken in, and it was kind of by chance because there was no other Cherokee family to take him, and they wanted it to be a Cherokee family in the meantime while they waited for a court order. And the parents are convinced that Wyatt, this foster kid, is their son, Ray, who was shot, reincarnated. That really tripped me up in the beginning, but then I realized that this is a book that you're kind of more supposed to take at face value. It's not about getting answers, it's not about understanding if these people are like okay or anything like that. It's just accepting it. It's accepting that, yeah, maybe Wyatt did have a part to play. Maybe he is the reincarnation, maybe he's not, maybe he did cure Ernest, maybe he didn't. It's hard to know, but it's just a way of life that I've never experienced myself, obviously. And it was a really nice way to view the world. I loved how spiritual it was. I loved how there were so many signs in the world to the family that they were being watched, or that something was to come, or that something was happening. And they were signs that in the beginning I thought weren't really signs, like they were just things that they were making into signs, but as the story went on I feel like they really were. But I didn't finish talking about the characters, because then another point of view is Sonia. You called right as I was doing an update, and I meant to hit okay, but I accidentally hung up. What's up?
Very pretty.
Thank you.
I had a feeling, that's why I called.
Oh, okay, good. I'm gonna forget what I wanted to say if you take too long to tell me what you want to say.
I had nothing to say, so I will leave you alone.
Bye. Damn it, I did forget what I was gonna say. Oh yeah, we also follow the point of view of Edgar, their other son, who is a drug addict, and he's one that they've tried to have interventions for time and again, but he kind of definitely goes through it in this story because he didn't want to give it up and he didn't see it as a problem. And then there's Sonia, and I think Sonia's character is the one that like solidified my initial dislike of the story, because she really throws me off. She's the daughter, and she seems like she's got it together, like she's more okay, I guess, than everyone else subjectively, and she's so not. Her mind works very differently, and I think this is why I initially got into like that whole like psychoanalyzing mindset, because she seemed different. She just was off kilter. Like I wasn't sure if what she was experiencing was real, if she was an unreliable narrator or not. I was very unsure. I'll leave that at that. There's also another point of view, which is T'Sala, I believe is how it's said, because I remember I kept thinking that they were saying T'Challa in the audiobook, like my cat. I believe that T'Sala is a prophet. That's what I was understanding, and there's just so many Cherokee myths strewn throughout this novel, and that's when I started to really appreciate it, because even though it was a very disjointed storytelling, there wasn't a linear plot, there wasn't a linear conclusion, and it was a little confusing for me to follow. It's just because it's not a way of life that I've ever experienced myself, and it was really, really cool to see by the end. Like by the end I was really appreciating it, and I'm sure there's so much that I missed or just didn't even understand to be able to appreciate, but for that I think that this story was amazing. And then I started The Ones We're Meant to Find on Scribd, and I'm actually about halfway through, which was really surprising to me when I saw that. I don't know, I'm not into it yet. It's kind of more of a mystery, because initially the way that I saw it was that there's C, who wakes up stranded on an island with fading memories, but all she really does remember is that she needs to get back to her sister Casey. That's her one motivator, and she is alone on this island except for like this android bot that she booted back up. And then there's Casey, who is a STEM prodigy. Everyone assumes that C, her sister, is gone and dead, and Casey does too. So the focus on her end of the story was supposed to be more about like the eco cities that they're creating in this story, because it's set in a future where the world is becoming uninhabitable to humans, and that really only the rich are able to afford the kind of life that you would need to survive on this planet. And she's one of the creators for an eco city, and she has an amazing plan, an amazing idea at least, but she's not even sure if she wants to give it to the people because she thinks that there's something inherently wrong with the system. So that was what I thought it was going to be, but it's also about, it's just a mystery. It's how did C even get on this island in the first place, because Casey doesn't know either. It's how did C lose her memory? Where is C? Is she even on an island? There's a huge mystery set in this story, which I guess I should have expected from the start, but I always kind of assumed that it was going to be way more about the journey of C getting back home and Casey kind of like dealing with all these superior people, but it's not. Those are like back burner things. So I don't know, I feel mixed. Anyways, I am going to probably continue editing because I think I'm almost done, which is good. And then, oh, I'm actually getting my shot today, my first vaccine for the COVID vaccine, because I thought you had to wait 90 days after you got sick, but apparently not, so that's good. And I scheduled it for today, my first one. I'm like mildly nervous because I know that it's supposed to make you tired, and if I don't finish all my stuff before getting it, I don't think I'm gonna finish it. So, and I have to leave in about an hour to go get that. So I'm gonna let you go. I might have a snack, and yeah. All right, so let's do a quick wrap up. I finished 4 books this week. We're slowing down, I guess. I first read, I think, The House in the Cerulean Sea by TJ Klune. Or did I read this first, or Razorblade Tears? You know, one of those two is first. I read The House in the Cerulean Sea by TJ Klune. I gave it 5 stars. It was incredible. It had a lot to do with Theodore and, you know, with Lucy as well. So then I read Razorblade Tears by S.A. Cosby, also 5 stars, completely different vibe though, very action-packed, very hard-hitting, very dark. It's the opposite basically of House in the Cerulean Sea. Then I finally finished The Removed by Brandon Hobson. I gave it 3 stars. 3.5 really, but it was good. I just like, I guess, a little bit more direction in the stories that I read. This one didn't really have that. That's that. But it was still really good, and I don't know, it was a different perspective than I'm used to, and I liked it a lot in that aspect. Then I finished The Ones We're Meant to Find by Joan He, and I ended up giving it 3.5 stars. I really wanted to like this book, and I think maybe that's why it's a 3.5 versus like a 4 stars. It's because I had very high expectations for what I liked about this book, and in the end I was just kind of disappointed that it ended so abruptly. I like more of a conclusion to my stories, and I feel like I didn't get that in this. Again, I do still need to look over reviews. I didn't get to do that yet. I just got back home from work, so I do need to do that, so potentially my review will change after that, but for now, that's that. And then I finally started Iron Gold by Pierce Brown. I am only an hour in of a 23-hour long audiobook, so we'll see if I finish it before August is done. Really, the only thing left on my TBR is to finish Come Tumbling Down by Shauna McGuire, so I really want to get to that in next week's vlog, in the first few days of next week, I guess. And other than that, I hope you enjoyed. I think I might just keep weekly vlogs for a while. I'm reading a lot and I'm having fun with it, so we'll see. I will see you though in next week's vlog, so thank you guys so much for watching. Let me know if you would want to see, like, I guess like a mini birthday-ish haul. I don't know, that's up to you. Let me know. Bye bye. I was gonna give you a kiss and I was like, that's weird.